Oh, okay. I don't know. Stupid. Yep.
Order the Board
Mike's
of
on.
Supervisors meeting for the lovely town of Sevastopol on Monday, January 19th at 7 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Turn your mic on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am now. All right. All right, roll call to establish a quorum.
Supervisor Mark Hain.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfle.
Here.
Supervisor Trent Olson.
Here.
Supervisor Vogel is excused.
All right. Let's find out who we have in the audience, although I think we know. But we'll start on this table in the front. Sir, could you explain who you are?
Good evening, I'm Hugh Zettel, I live at 3986 Glenn Drive. I'm also the District 14 Supervisor for the eastern half of the town of Sevastopol.
Oh, welcome.
Stacy Danielle, 4832 County Road P.
Joe Polachek, 4444 Glidden Drive,
Ooh,
Sevastopol.
Brent Gillett, Inspection Specialist, Inspector.
And Kyle Hill,
All right.
Specialist.
well, good. Welcome. Boy, I got a little bit of an echo, huh? Public participation. If anyone has anything they'd like to speak to that's not on our agenda, now would be the opportunity. Feel free to raise your hands. Okay, done. We will move on. I'm assuming the agenda was properly noticed?
The agenda was properly noticed.
All right, then we would need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion by Trent, second by?
Second.
Second by Mark to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Jeannie? Oh, okay, good. Approval of the Board of Supervisors minutes from December 15th.
I'll move to approve the minutes of December 15th, 2025 and place on file.
Motion by Linda, second by
Second?
Trent. Approve the minutes of December 15th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We're on. Okay. First item on our agenda is we've asked inspections people, Mr. the Gillets. How's that? Yeah. There you go. We were, or I should say, I was approached a while back by Kyle with respect to a process called E-Plan. The prior building inspector, Brett Timmy, did not only our regular building, but he also did commercial. And neither of you guys are in that end of the business, the commercial stuff. And there is a company out of, I think it's Waukesha, if my memory's right. Brookfield, all right. That basic focus is to do that, to work it through the system, to provide a faster turnaround, and works very much similar to how we would work today with our building inspector. And so we were hoping that that gentleman would come, but in his absence, we asked Kyle to talk through this a little bit. So if you have any questions, and then right after he's done with this, if there's any questions related to the portion under new business of our building inspection fees, they can answer that as well. So Kyle, I'll give you the opportunity if you'd grab, or Brett, whoever, just grab the mic and.
Just a quick comment.
Sure.
So I do commercial inspections.
Oh.
I do have the license to inspect them. I can do plan reviews up to a certain size, just like Brett Timmy did.
Oh.
But it's the state plans that we can't do.
Oh, okay.
And that's what this E-plan is all about. So so they're not here to inspect, they're just here to do the state's plan.
The plan. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Just grab that and put it right in,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, this is fine. So essentially, E-Plan exam is a state plan review for commercial buildings only. They don't do, like Brett said, inspections at all. They're just there to act as a secondary source of plan reviews other than the mandatory option, which is the state. So the state has approved E-Plan exam as a third party to do that on whatever town chooses to work with them on their behalf. So the process right now is anytime someone wants to build or remodel or work with anything in a commercial building in the town, they have to send those plans to state if it's above a certain size of a building. They have the option to have us do the local plan review because we are delegated as a commercial plan reviewer up to 25,000 cubic square feet. So we can do anything that's smaller than that, but once it gets larger than that, all the plans must be sent to state to get state reviewed. And that's the process that it currently is in the town right now. E-Plan exam is offering the opportunity to do those plan reviews rather than the state, and the advantage there is that E-Plan takes, I want to say, maybe 10 to 15 days to do these reviews on average, where the state can take sometimes up to 6 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks. It kind of depends on their workload, obviously, because they're handling all the reviews for the entire state. So lately for this year, they've been averaging about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. E-Plan actually has an agreement with the state that says they cannot take longer than 15 days to do those plan reviews. Otherwise, you know, their agreement with the state would be kind of null and void, is how they explained it to me. So what that means is that if the town chooses to work with E-Plan exam, any contractor that is working on a commercial building in the town now has the option to either go to the state for a plan review or use E-Plan exam for a plan review. They still have the option to choose. E-Plan is what we would prefer people go to because in addition to moving a lot faster than the state, they also provide the town and anyone else who wants access. They provide a list of all the projects that they're currently reviewing. They provide a list of all the inspectors and plan reviewer, or I shouldn't say inspectors, all the plan reviewers that are in charge of that project that would be looking at it. They provide a list of, you know, I guess everything that they're looking at. We'll just leave it at that. So in addition to that, they also offer counseling services for anyone that's working with them in that town that hires them. So let's say anyone wants to build a commercial building in the town of Sevastopol, they are welcome to reach out to E-Plan exam directly, ask them any questions about commercial building codes, get their opinions on what's required, what's not required. Currently, their only option right now, if they have questions on that, is to go directly to state, or they can go to a licensed architect, or they can come to us with certain questions. But obviously, because we cover most of Door County, time is really limited, and a lot of those questions that they have, we have to go back and refer to that commercial code book to actually take the time to look that up, versus E-Plan exam has about a staff of 25 people that are readily available. They can answer that within the day. So those are really the major advantages. The other thing is that they don't charge the town any fees for working with them. It's a similar contract that you have with us, and that they actually give a portion of the fees that they collect from the contractors back to the town as a contracted percentage, or whatever you agree upon, whatever their contract says. So there's no charge to the town. They actually share those profits with you, when right now all of those profits are going directly to the state, because the state does charge for those plan reviews. So that's another major advantage, I guess. Is there anything I kind of missed? That kind of covers most of it.
Kind of covers it.
Is there any questions on that, how that process operates?
I have one relative, well, a couple. One is relative to the fees. How do they compare when you're looking at the state? Is there an economy of scale there?
Yep. There's a form called SBD 118. That's what the state uses as their ranking for the fees that they apply. And then E-Plan uses that same form. I believe that DA, the chairman or the president of E-Plan, says they keep that same fee schedule and relative to what the state charges. I don't know if they change it. It might be a little lower depending on whatever your contract agreement is with the town. Yeah. So
Okay.
it kind of just depends. And overall, those fees would stay relatively the same for the contractor. But in the town's perspective, now it's coming through E-Plan, which a portion of that gets shared to you, essentially.
Do you have a question, Linda?
On fees? So you said that the fees using E-Plan are slightly higher than going through the state, but there's a better turnaround time. They're lower.
They're sometimes lower, yep. Well, I would say, yeah, the majority of the time they're lower. I don't have the specifics on that part, because,
The state has a list of fees, and it's based on the square footage of the building.
Okay,
So the state, so let's say it's a 50,000 square foot building, it'll be this fee, and that's for state fees. And then they have another chart that says delegated municipalities, which would be Sevastopol. Because right now, we're delegated to do plan reviews of small and inspections. If you hire them, now they're delegated to do all plan reviews, your town would be. So when they have the next chart is the fees of delegated communities, and it's usually about $50 to $100 cheaper than what the state charges.
what is the average fee, and this is only for commercial projects, correct?
Yep.
So what is the ballpark fee that the state charges right now?
Part of the proposal that you have pulled
Yeah,
up
it's
there.
in
Well,
the,
I
Yeah.
looked at it, but I wasn't
Yeah, if you go
quite
down, I think it's
certain.
like page 5 or 6 or something like that. It's towards the bottom.
it is in there.
Like I said, they won't charge more than what the state, most of the time they charge less than what the state does. Again, I would say the smallest fee is probably $350, and then if, of course, the building gets bigger and bigger and bigger, could go all the way up to $1,000.
They got fees here on page 14.
14?
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of different exhibits, but their fee structure is, I think, starts on 14.
Yep, the exhibits,
Yeah,
So-
okay.
So that SBD 118 form that Kyle was talking about, that's what the architect fills out. And it gives it all the information about this building, you know, but I think it's like page 3 of that form, it shows the fees of it. So the architect actually knows what he's getting charged already. But with E-Plan, the architect will send them the plans, and they'll immediately call that same day and say, hey, you're still missing this, and this is what your fees are gonna be. So the architect knows that same day he sends it in.
Okay, so looking for I'll just use 50,000 square feet, all right? Looking at Exhibit B, the fee schedule. So we've got a $3,200 just to review the building plans, plus HVAC, plus fire alarm and fire suppression, and then and then you would add on electrical, plumbing? No?
For
Well,
plan review?
For plan review, they can do plumbing plan review, they can do HVAC plan
Right,
review, they can do building and fire suppression, electrical doesn't have to be.
Okay, because there's a plumbing fee,
Yep,
and I thought there
So,
was
so
electrical.
the plan
or,
reviews that the state requires are plumbing with anything over 16 fixtures. They require HVAC approvals and they require building approvals. Those are the 3 plan approval, as well as fire suppression.
fire suppression.
Those are usually with a brand-new commercial building, those are the 4 different plan reviews that you have to do. In the state currently, you have to send 4 different plan review submissions to the state to get all 4 of those approved. It's the same situation that you would have with E-Plan. They follow the exact same format.
So if Myron Construction is the contractor for a major project that's going to happen in the town of Sevastopol, they would go through E-Plan
Correct.
If you work with E-Plan, yes.
if we decided,
So the architect, whoever I think Myron has their own.
they all know that, yeah.
Yeah.
They all know that. And when they go to the state, supposedly if they go in and click on the town of Sevastopol, it's supposed to say that they hired E-Plan to do that. review. But the
Yeah.
architect can say, you know what, I wanna go with the state.
Yep.
He still has that option to do that.
Correct. Yeah, that is the kicker. They don't have to go with E-Plan if you work with them. It's preferred if they do because of the turnaround time and obviously the benefit for the town. But if they truly want to go through the state still, they still have that option to do so.
So if we contracted with E-Plan and nobody reached out to them to do their building plan review, there's no cost to us or anything like that?
Correct.
Right.
It's- There's no fees to
So
the
what
town.
What I found out, right now they're doing Sturgeon Bay and Sister Bay.
I saw that on the
And,
list, yeah.
And other communities that I know of down south. Once the architects find that out, that they're working for Sevastopol, they just go to automatically go right to E-Plan right away. Because that's what happens in Sturgeon Bay now, everybody knows that, so.
Mm.
But what you're saying is if Myron says, no, I'm gonna send it to state, it still doesn't cost you guys anything. The only difference is now you don't get that percentage, because it went to state instead of E-Plan.
Do you want all the questions now, or are you gonna keep
If-
going through
if you care. Well, you mean relative to E-Plan?
yes?
Sure, I mean,
They're not necessarily regarding the fee, though.
that's fine. If they can answer it,
No?
resolve it, I mean, that's fine with me.
All right. First of all, I noticed it's a 3-year contract.
But you can terminate it anytime.
Yes, I saw that too. with no cause or whatever. Is that their normal standard procedure, 3-year
We-
contract?
We can't really speak on that. We're not the president.
We're not the
Yeah,
president.
unfortunately, DA would be the best contact for that. We're just here on his behalf, kind of representing exactly what
Okay.
he does.
And then the references that they had, yes, you had mentioned the Village of Sister Bay and the City of Sturgeon Bay. There's no towns on here, probably because towns don't have a whole lot of commercial building, but,
Well, I think it's more of a fact that a lot of people are unaware of what E-Plan services provides. So, yes, there is less commercial than obviously in the city of Sturgeon Bay, but there is still a significant amount of commercial building that goes on with each of these towns. And a lot of things that I've been telling a lot of people is really the added and main benefit would be the consultation services that they provide. So if anyone does want to build in the town of Sevastopol, if you work with them, they are readily able to pick up that phone and answer any questions that architect is able to, or that architect has for them. So
Okay.
while there might not be a lot of commercial services, they are definitely readily available to
So
answer
to
that.
answer that question though, so the communities that I work for, that we work for, we suggested it to all of them and just left it up to them. So far, Algoma's hiring them. Bailey's Harbor has been talking to them, Gibraltar's been talking to them, and I think the Village of Bay Harbor.
Yeah, so I can tell you, I spoke with DA shortly, a little while ago, and he said that Bailey's Harbor, Fish Creek, City of Algoma, Town of Egg Harbor, as well as the Village of Egg Harbor are in the process of going through this as well right now.
and then you had talked about, so anything exceeding how many square feet you have to pass along to the state? Was it
So-
20,000?
So when we're delegated, Sevastopol's delegated to do plan reviews of smaller sizes. The state goes by cubic feet, so it's 25,000, so anything less than that, technically I can do
You
it.
could do.
But it depends on the project. Sometimes, some of them I can't do. That's just the way.
Because one of their comments, I'm looking at the agreement itself, on page 2 of the E-Plan agreement, it talks about the project review threshold, and then it talks about 5,000 square feet of floor area. So
Yeah,
I guess that's
That's square feet.
that's square feet.
different than cubic feet.
Yeah.
Okay, square feet on the floor, cubic feet, the whole space.
Yes.
Okay.
I assume they generally say 5,000 square feet because most walls are 10 feet tall, that's 50,000 cubic feet for a building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their rating.
I think we and them, we all go by square feet. For some reason, the state goes by cubic feet, but it's 5,000. The big thing is, once it gets to 2,500 square feet, it has to get plan review. Once it gets to 5,000 square feet, it has to be drawn by an architect.
Okay. And then looking at the agreement on the top of page 3, it says, if client, and we're the client, we would be the client, correct? If client either fails to provide such notice within 5 business days period, or elects not to perform such plan review, really, we, as the client, we don't
No.
have anything to do with that, right?
I'm thinking, again, I'm not as familiar with their contract and what it states, but the client in this case would be the contractor,
Yeah,
not the town.
Not us.
not the town,
Correct.
yeah.
Oh.
You would be
And
liable.
the way that it's referenced in the quote you just provided would be.
Well, in the
client.
professional services agreement, the very first paragraph says, entered into by and between Town of Sevastopol, a Wisconsin municipality, client. So I guess that was why
Yeah, I guess we can't speak for them.
all right. And then I had already mentioned the 3-year contract with an automatic renewal. Subcontractors, page 7, paragraph 11. Consultant, so they are the, E-Plan is the consultant, shall have the right to subcontract portions of the services out without notice to us. So they could be hired to do this plan review, but then E-Plan could hire it out. So it says they have the right to subcontract, but then if you look at paragraph 12B, it says their insurance will not cover subcontractors. So I was just kind of,
Yeah.
you know, they should be covering everything. Yeah.
I would assume that anybody that is going to subcontract out is going to make sure they have their own insurance. I mean,
Okay. All right. That's all I had.
to me, it's kind of somewhat similar to
I mean,
when we would have something built, he subcontracts out for somebody to do the spec for the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC. And in the case of the building, like the restroom, Henry did the outside design and
Right.
everything else was
Right.
subbed out.
And we would have nothing out of pocket, correct?
Correct.
Nothing, we don't need to dish out anything.
Right.
Kind of, it's almost the same contract as us.
Mhm.
It's paid by the client, well, not
Department.
by the permit, by the,
Yep.
not the client, by the contractor.
Correct.
Before we get out of the contract language, I did have a question on the indemnification, which, that one, we might have to go to them as well. The indemnification's one way versus like our contract with.
Give me a
with-
page.
What page are
Oh,
you
I'm
on?
sorry, page, it's section 9 of the agreement. What page is that? Sorry,
Section 9 is on page 6,
okay, yeah.
limitation,
No, indemnification.
indemnification.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, so it's a one-sided indemnification, like our contract with you is, if you make a mistake, you're gonna cover us. If we make a mistake, we're gonna cover you. It's a two-way indemnification. This agreement isn't that way. It's only one-sided for, the consultant. So I'd like to see that changed if we could. We'll see if they, yeah.
Oh, client agrees to defend, indemnify,
Yes.
consultant.
But I think we're back to the conversation of who's the client.
Well, if they're
Well-
naming
I
us
mean,
as
it
client in
it
parent
needs to,
one.
right, I mean,
Yeah,
it needs to be
paragraph one.
clarified that the client is his customer,
Yeah.
not us. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If they clarify that,
Right.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, if we're the client, I think that should be a two-way indemnification.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I wish we could answer a lot of those.
I know, yeah,
for you,
that's
but
a tough one for you,
That
yeah.
might be I would recommend maybe reaching out to DA directly to get some of these
Yeah.
questions answered, because
Mhm.
obviously he does work with many municipalities in the state right now.
Okay.
To
Mhm.
the point where they've grown that big. So he'd be able to answer those questions.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So if you make a list, I don't know, you can
I
email
just think,
Correct, yeah.
I think we have too many clients.
Well,
Yeah,
I think we just have too many clients.
yeah, I think maybe that's it.
We just haven't, we'll figure out which one of us is who, and that'll clarify it. Okay. Anything else from anyone? Mark, you're good? Okay.
I guess, just out of curiosity, are there any concerns with working with E-Plan, or is it pretty straightforward? It's just a matter of contract language at this point, I would imagine, correct?
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it. I mean, like you said, it's basically the same contract as we operate with you.
Correct.
And I should probably read how many times you've named us client.
I don't think we use that one.
We're gonna maybe look into that really close later tonight. But, no, I mean, and I don't have a problem. We can bring this back after we get it clarified if you want.
That'd be great.
We'll do that, make life easy. And I can, he was gonna come, but for whatever reason, it didn't pan out. So, okay, so, as long as we have you two gentlemen here, we had discussed the fee schedule last month. There really wasn't any, pushback one way or the other relative to the changes. And I don't know if anyone on the board has any thoughts on that now. I have some other question that I want to pursue after that.
I think the
So-
only thing was the bond.
Pardon me?
I think the only problem or issue we were talking about was the bond.
Occupancy bond.
Occupancy bond was the only
Right.
thing that we,
Yeah, and that's the question I want to have a little further conversation on. But is there any questions relative to the fee structure other than that?
Well, the base is going from 650 to 750. I did compare the current schedule with the new one, and I thought there was going to be a change to the occupancy bond, but it's still listed at 400, so.
Well, that's what we would like to talk about this evening.
If I could interject there, I'm not sure that we ever had a $650 fee. We had something that was $650?
0 to 749 square feet was 650, and this is from,
Yeah, I made the same note.
I'm not sure.
We changed the bracket then to 0 to 999
Yeah,
and made it
because-
750.
Because the county actually enforces zoning, obviously, you guys know that here, and they don't allow primary houses smaller than 750 square feet, so that fee just didn't make sense.
right, makes
You
sense.
lucked
Yep.
out there. Boy, now we are going to really get inside their contract. Okay, so we did have a conversation about occupancy bond, and the problem being that people move into the house before the final inspection. And we were talking about, should we increase that? Which I don't know that we reached any resolution at all. And then I think the other thing, that I don't know if I came up with it or it was discussed, but to send a letter to the owner, to inform the owner that there is an occupancy bond out there that maybe they were totally unaware of, that it was never really discussed with the builder in terms of, oh, this is part of what happens, and so it gets forfeited, but, you know, so it was a conversation saying, you know, maybe it's a two-step thing. Maybe we increase the occupancy bond, maybe we don't, and the other one is maybe we send information back to the owner saying this is part of the fee that you're paying, and you're required to do this if you want to get this money back. So I don't know what,
I think you're right on that, because I don't, you know, we're not on the builder side, so we don't know what they charge the customer. You know, I'm sure whatever our fees are, they charge them more.
Right.
right,
I think a lot of them charge them, well, that's part of the fees, that 400, and then they get it back from the town, and they never tell the customer.
right.
So, I totally agree, if the customer knows maybe that they're gonna lose this $400, I don't know. Because a lot of times, at least coming from builders, and maybe Mark can talk about, well, the owner wanted to move in this weekend. Well, we didn't give them a final, but they moved in anyway. So maybe if the owners know about it, maybe they don't know about it, maybe, I guess. I don't know how to answer that question.
Mark, what do you think from the old builder's perspective?
Well, exactly what Brett just said. We get that all the time. We're moving in this weekend and they haven't done the final. You know, so if they're aware of that, I think that would definitely help both sides, our side and your side.
Because, you know, because when we're done, we give Amy this house is done.
Right.
Everything passed,
Refund,
you can return this bond. Well, who paid for it? And we look at the permit and it's paid by such and such builders. That's who gets it back. We don't know what they did to the customer. They probably charged them. They're not giving the customer
Right.
$400 back.
So-
I don't know.
Amy, does that create any hardship? I mean, you got enough to do. I mean, is this, if we do this, does it cause you any heartburn?
No, I would just come up with some sort of. Standard letter, and then, you know, once we're close to doing that, I would just send it out to let the owner know. So I don't think it would cause anything.
Okay.
It's kind of like the plan commission letters, you know, only
Same
have
kind of-
one, yep. we
I
just
think
send it
if I
out.
could interject my opinion on that one is, I don't know if it would make more sense to send a letter to the applicant on record, rather than the owner directly. Because the builder is the one handling all contracting and permitting fees and everything. Likely, the owner is never even aware of half the fees that they talk about, mostly because they want to just take care of all of that on their own. So I don't know if that would create tension, if you will, between like an owner and a builder, saying, hey, why are you telling people this when this isn't the process that I go through? Not that I'm saying it wouldn't fix an issue, but I
It would only be heartburn, the first time.
Fair.
I mean, realistically, I mean, yeah, after that, it would be transparent on how you handle the fees. So where in the process would you get the occupancy bond letter out? When they issue the building permit? Would that be, to me, I don't know, I'm just asking.
Well, you know, when we issue the permit and, you know, we give them our fees, and then at the very bottom it says occupancy bond, well, what's that? You know, someone will ask me, well, it's a bond that Sevastopol charges, and you can't move in till the house is final, and we give you an occupancy waiver. Once that's happened, you get it back. Do you get phone calls from builders saying, hey, where's my money?
Portside is the only one that I,
Every town tells me they're the only one that does that. So it's almost
Portside.
like the rest of them don't care, or they forget about it.
Which is kind of why it begs the question if it should be raised.
Yeah,
I-
I'm just kind of feeling the same way.
The what?
I'm kind of feeling the same way that Kyle brought up. That money's not gonna go back to the homeowner, because, I mean, as a contractor, when I do my estimate, I put right on the estimate, permit included, so we just take that as part of the bid, part of the estimate. So, yeah, I think if we put that on there, and then the homeowners look at, you know, the contractor and say, hey, you owe me some money,
Yeah.
which they don't. So I think we might be
Well, how do
Poking
we,
a bear we don't want to poke.
so how do we get the homeowner to understand that they can't move in until they get a final inspection?
I
mean,
guess
In my
that'd be
opinion,
going
it should
towards
be
the
the builder should
contractor.
be Putting his
Right.
foot down on it.
Right, or we have to
Yeah.
put our foot down towards the contractor, towards the general contractor, saying that you guys need to tell the homeowners about this yourselves. So maybe this should go to the
I mean,
contractor.
it doesn't happen that often. I've been doing this for 20-plus years, and it just seems like the last year, it's people are moving in, and, you know, we haven't done finals on it.
So do we push the amount up and go back to the builder? Is that, go
Because
ahead.
because we do have ones that do move in, I give it to the clerk, whether it's Amy or up in Gibraltar, and say, hey, they moved in prior to occupancy, keep the bond. And if board site calls up and say, why am I not getting it? I say, well, the owner moved in, sorry. Because that's what it says, I think I think it says that in your
Yes.
occupancy bond, your rules of it.
Go ahead.
If I were building a home, I would expect my contractor to take care of everything. I've changed my mind. I do not think we should be contacting the owner about that bond, at all. Like I said, I would put everything on my contractor. You take care of everything. This is what I need to pay. Yeah. And whether they get their bond back or not, the owner, I doubt they do, but I don't remember getting mine back. Anyway, maybe instead of, and like you said, we do have in the agreement that could be forfeited
Yeah.
if you have an early move-in. So you have a early start fee, maybe you could have a
Early move-in.
move-in prior to final inspection
Well, we,
fine or penalty.
okay, so
You
you
know.
have, where they'll call up for a final, and I'll get there and they meet all the safety issues, exits, electrical's all done, but they're missing like 4 or 5 items, maybe the deck's not built yet. We'll give them a temporary, and that's in our fee schedule, and it's a $50 charge. And they give them a temporary occupancy, and usually 30 days, 60 days. Wintertime, we usually give them longer, because they're not gonna build that deck until April anyway.
Yeah.
So we do have something like that in place. And then if they don't call us for that reinspection, they're gonna lose that bond money, because, it's.
So,
Yeah.
so just to comment on what you suggested, if we were the ones to, I guess, say, hey, you owe us this because you moved in prior, if, again, this is a rare occurrence, if someone said, they're already moved in, I'm already out of the project, we're just not gonna pay it, what are you gonna do, kind of thing. I guess that's the point where it's like, well, does it escalate to a town violation, and do you really wanna start writing citations and things like that? It's not necessarily, the route that I would think the town would wanna go, but.
I guess the reason we're asking is because it's your decision on this occupancy bond, it's not our fees, and you keep it. Just talking with other inspectors in different municipalities, granted, the bigger cities are $1,000 for those. One of the guys says, maybe it's just not high enough, that's why they don't care. That's why we asked, what do you guys think? Should we raise it or just keep it at 400? It's been 400 since you guys started in 2000. For 25
So,
years.
Amy, how many have we ever kept? I know of one when you were clerk, because I
Right.
was involved, but anything since then where they've moved in and you've still given them back the bond?
There's been a couple of them that, I still have on the books from, I don't know, 2011 maybe, that they've just never called.
Yeah.
But nothing recently that we've forfeited their bond?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think in the town here that we've done that in the last year or so.
Specifically in Sevastopol, no, in the last 2
Yeah.
years, we haven't had any situations like
Yeah.
that. It's more of a growing concern for the county as a whole, which is why I brought it to your attention in the first place.
Okay, so before
maybe
the
just
horse is totally dead. You want to move the occupancy bond up a little bit, just to get a little more focus on it, and we do not go with a letter. We just, if they don't have it done, when they turn in the permit, we forfeit the bond, they forfeit the bond. That would be my
I
suggestion.
personally think leave it alone and just leave it lay. That's my opinion on it.
I agree with Mark. Just leave it sit for now.
Okay,
If there aren't that many instances.
Yeah,
like I said, before the horse was
Yeah.
dead.
Okay.
All right, sounds fine.
So is this, real quick, is this contract that we have, is this gonna be to all your municipalities? The fee schedule
Yeah, we-
raising?
We gave the same fee schedule to every month, because we want to keep it moving forward.
I need to know for when I'm doing my estimates. Personal question.
Yeah.
All right,
It's gonna, actually, a bunch of them have approved it already, there's just some have to wait for the meetings.
To make it easier for the contracts in the entire county.
Yeah.
We equalized and made all fees the same.
That makes sense. I like that.
all right, thanks, guys, appreciate it. You're welcome to stay or you're welcome to exit, whichever you prefer.
We're good?
I think
Yep.
we're good.
Good.
Very much.
Thanks, guys.
I gotta get them back to the beer.
All right, AT&T update.
Oh, do we need to approve this contract?
You know what, thank you. I
Yeah,
was just gonna
motion.
say that. We need to put a motion in place to approve their contract for the current year
It's
and
on-
their fee schedule.
It's on page 17 and 18 of the packet.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to do that,
I don't think they're wondering, should they stay for this, for question of this, or no?
no, all we're gonna do is approve it unless you got something. Okay,
Right.
we'll
Thank
wait
you.
till you're gone and we won't approve it. No,
Thank you.
all right. So somebody's gonna make a motion to approve their inspections.
I'm
I'll
just-
make said motion.
All right,
You mean lay it out, or?
yes.
I will make a motion for the new fee schedule from building inspection specialists.
All right, and contract them for the current year.
Right.
All right,
And I'll second.
yeah.
motion by Mark, second by Trent.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
I don't know why they don't put Inspection Specialists LLC, because that is their proper name, but I'm not going to get all technical. A Wisconsin Limited Liability Company, because their legal name is Inspection Specialists, comma,
LLC.
And it's down
LLC.
here in the license and fees. Okay, anyhow, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we can move on. All right, AT&T update. As you know, we've made a couple payments to AT&T. We've collected all the money from the state. We have it in our coffers. I think the last time that we got an update from AT&T, we were somewhere around 65–70% of the project was completed. They're expecting to get the project completed by early spring, is what they're telling us. However, we have hit a hiccup, and that is on Bay Shore Drive. Bay Shore Drive, Sturgeon Bay Utilities has been working on a project to put power underground, and as well as to allow, I believe, Spectrum and AT&T to access that underground service. Unfortunately, as it turns out, there was some communication issues between AT&T and SBU in terms of how fast this was moving, and SBU ground to a halt with their contractor on a section of Bay Shore Drive where it was nothing but pure rock. And so their progress has slowed to approximately 0.8 of a mile. And so as a result of that, SBU is projecting that they are going to go out through 2027 to finish the project on Bay Shore Drive for installation of underground utilities and access for AT&T. When this came up, we had a conference call with AT&T to find out where they were at, and they subsequently requested from the State of Wisconsin Public Service Commission an extension, which shortly thereafter they received, said that the extension was not going to be granted at this time, that all funds have to be expended by the end of '26. Now, what this all means is that in all probability, depending on how fast SBU's project goes and whether they run into some soft ground, there's going to be a section of Bay Shore Drive that will not get underground service from AT&T. It'll have to go on the poles, which, by the way, is what they bid to begin with, all right? So the pushback obviously will come from the people on Bay Shore Drive who would like not to have those poles But the bottom line is, as I understand it today, AT&T will have to acquire those poles from SBU. The cost to go back and go underground is prohibitive. So they'll complete the project on the timeline, so we don't have any impact to the funds, but there will be a section, which is undetermined yet, of Bay Shore Drive where it'll be on the poles. And that might also flow up into Shoreside.
Shoreside.
Anybody could say that. Shoreside Circle subdivision. So I wanted to let you know that's where we're at right now, and it's still, it's up for grabs. But right now, the project's going to move ahead, and it'll end up on poles unless something dramatic changes, and he's able to bury their utility tubes at a much higher rate than they expected. But given everything they've run into, it does not appear that that's the case. So, any question?
So if SBU in 2027, and they said even into 2028,
Yep.
puts everything underground, but in the meantime, we can't delay our project, so AT&T is going to have to buy some poles. But okay, so it's going to go on poles now, and then when SBU actually has the underground?
No.
They remove the poles and bury ours?
No, they'll own the poles, they'll be on poles forever.
Yeah,
They
unless they
can't go-
recontract.
They can't
AT&T
go
will not go
from
back.
poles to underground?
Well, they will, but we'll have to get a new contract with them. We're starting a whole new
Yep.
contract over.
It would require expenditures of cash that they won't make,
Okay,
so.
all right. Well, I guess it's on poles.
I mean,
so-
yeah, there's, there's
I mean, it's
sections
not a
that didn't even
perfect
try to go
world,
under.
but what we promised, we will still deliver. It's just not gonna be as eloquent a solution. So, okay. Moving on. Shower Road. All right, so as we all know, this wonderful check, they came out this week. They took a picture, it'll appear somewhere at some point in time as we accepted the funds. And as you know on the board, we're $100,000 short of being funded to fully do this project. So as I think I indicated to you earlier, I went back and had a discussion with Jacksonport and said basically, either you're gonna have to dig deeper if you want your portion of this project to happen. As we all know, the turnaround benefits Jacksonport because it cuts off traffic through Shower Road into Cape Point Park, which there's a strong sense of community there that they want that to happen. They don't want any more of that traffic. And then that small portion of the road would be donated back to the state and would be open to biking, hikes, and et cetera, et cetera. And I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So one of my concerns is if you looked at the Community Foundation grant agreement, it says that we have, any deviation from the grant must be approved by the Community Foundation. So I went back to Jessica Holland. I gave her all the details relative to the discussion I had with Jacksonport, which was the potential elimination of the turnaround, and they are fine with it. They understand what our goal is, and they understand it'd be nice, but they don't have an issue with it. So if we are forced to do that, we chop off $52,000 off of this project or off of the $100,000 delta that we have. Now, inside of that, was also expressed from Linda, and she had a great thought there. One of the ways to cut the cost down of the turnaround would be to gravel it instead of pave it and let them deal with it later. Tom Wilson wasn't overly excited by it, but given the fact that there's only two groups of people that are going to be down there, those are people that are lost that need to turn around and the plow.
Yep.
So it may be viable, and that could take 16 to 18 grand out of their costs. So that's also a discussion item. In conversation with Thad Ash, they're thinking that there might be as much as $30,000 flux in this overall bid. So depending on where we're at, we could be $25,000 to $50,000 short. We could be good, we could be bad. We're gonna have a meeting with the county on Thursday to discuss this. They also were looking at some, and I say unknown because they haven't shared with me what, but they were looking at some unknown approach to resolving some of this. So maybe they've come up with a rich sister, I don't know. So I'll let you know after, I know on Thursday where we stand, but right now, worst-case scenario, I would say we're 30 to 40 grand short on the project, and it could be less. So we'll see what happens as we move forward. Okay? Question?
Well, the agreement that we signed, the intergovernmental agreement, indicated that, you know, the municipalities and the county were supposed to seek grants for any shortage, so we've definitely done our part. Just the county's got to have other resources out there that maybe and you can discuss that at your meeting on Thursday.
That's what I'm
but
hoping, that they think they have some
There's gotta
vehicle to help trim this back. There's a lot of money in there for contingency too. So depending on how the contingency piece and the other piece is the fact that oil is down. And if you recall, last year, 2 years ago, when oil took a big dip, our cost to pave dropped dramatically from what they quoted to what we actually had to spend. So maybe that's another vehicle. We'll see what happens. Keep you abreast as much as I know. All right, Trent, we started on this last month. I'm going to give this back to you. You guys were trying to resolve an issue with respect to head count and a process, so why don't you kind of take us through where you're at with that?
Sure. So we had our EMR agency meeting on January 7th. We did have a quorum, so we did our officer elections, and then we did discuss the new point system that we discussed at the last meeting, where members would have to make 15 points in a year to be able to stay on the EMRs, unless they wanted to talk to the chief with a good reason on why they weren't able to do that. The points could come where there were 2 points for going to each call and 1 point for going to a meeting. At least 10 of your points had to come from going on calls. So minimum of 5 calls had to be gone on. That procedure was put into place and passed unanimously by the EMR group. And then during our committee meeting, we went through the performance of the EMR group, of the EMR members from 2025, and the 6th lowest are receiving letters this month that say they either need to contact the chief on what they plan to do to increase their productivity in 2026, or they need to turn in all their equipment by February 1st so that we can start bringing in some new members, and we'll get rid of the 6th lowest performing.
Oh,
Yeah.
and as you indicated, that passed by the group that was there at the time, so
Yes.
you have at least a quorum of people that feel that you're on the right path.
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Questions from Mark or Linda?
One thing, I guess we should just bring up those call statistics. So it was a good year for the EMRs. You know, we did have a new member, Grant Estes, went on a lot of calls, but the group did really
A
well
lot?
last year. What's that? A lot. He did.
60%?
He did, but 227 calls last year, so 81% of the calls had been responded to.
You better hope that Grant doesn't want to leave.
No, and he is now the assistant chief.
Yeah, I saw that in there, so, okay. But just as a question.
Yes.
Do we have an inventory yet of all of the equipment from the existing EMRs? We were working on radios, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll double check on that. I'm not sure where that's at.
Okay. Mark or Linda, you have questions?
I do not have any.
Mine were already answered.
Okay, so we'll wait to hear back at the next time they're together as to the response from the 6 that got the note.
Okay.
And see what's up.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds great, thank you. All right, Linda, Door County Coastal Byway Grant. I got this in here, or was this?
Yep, just, I think this is just for your information. So the Door County Coastal Byway, we did do a grant request to Raybrook Foundation, and we were successful. We're getting some dollars from them. So we're gonna reprint 10,000 of our coloring books, which is very popular. And then also reprint I think it's going to be 30,000 of our brochures, which are out in the rack cards at the visitor centers and here at municipal offices and all that. So the town of Sevastopol, if you recall, you acted as our sponsor for this
Yes.
grant as a nonprofit or non-taxable. So the check, our clerk did deposit the check. We have a coastal byway meeting on Monday, which we will have, just do another formal consensus to go ahead with the printing. And we thought this would be a good time to do printing because it's kind of a slow time of the year, so.
And you expect
we're-
us to give us this, to give you this money?
Yes, we will submit invoices.
All right.
We have to chip in a substantial sum as well, the coastal byway, so, yes. So that should be taken care of probably in the next month or so, depending on the printer's schedule.
Great. I'm glad you were successful, or we were.
We will.
We were. All right. Next item is Neighbors for a Safer Bay Shore Drive. And I think I got that right, but that title might be wrong. Just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up in terms of what it is. It's my understanding, it's an informal group of 25 people working with the county of Door to improve safety on Bay Shore Drive. And it encompasses people from both Egg Harbor and Sevastopol. And obviously, it's a county road, but they're in our area as well. Thad Ash has been acting as their focus leader, and they have engaged a retired State Patrol safety officer who's been giving feedback to the group. And the group came up with 38 different suggestions on things that they could do, a lot of which obviously are not viable. But they're not considering, their focus is not to create a speed reduction. Their focus is to try and come up with methods to make the road safer. There might be things like they had on their list, purchase a used state trooper car or Door County Sheriff car, park it on the side of the road so that oncoming traffic sees it and automatically responds. So they have a list of suggestions, and what they're trying to do is Thad Ash is trying to hire a traffic engineer who will fully evaluate the problem for the roadway, and he will evaluate the potential solutions that have been put forth, plus any others that they might have. And once that it is done, then depending on where they're going, they may come back and ask both Egg Harbor and the town for a contribution. They may not. They will, as they get further down the road, and I would say sometime in the June, July timeframe. The head of their group, a gentleman by the name of Jay Walters, has asked to come and do a little overview presentation to the town, which I told him that would be fine, telling us where they're at with this and how quickly it's moving. They're engaged with the Highway Safety Committee at the county, and working with the sheriff. There's a laundry list of 6, 7, 8 agencies that they're working with in unison to try and come up with ideas that will make a difference for that roadway. So that's, I
Do
think
we get
that's,
suggestions? Like,
Pardon me?
maybe they should all, do we get suggestions? Like, maybe they should all buy their own lawnmower? Or widen their driveways? So all the vehicles parked on the side of the road can go in there while they're working on their properties?
no,
I mean, can we give them suggestions?
we can.
I think it's kind of funny to a point that they're only worried about the road they live on, and they're not, like, broadening it to the town of Sevastopol roads.
I think, just my own gut feel from sitting through a couple conference calls, they see that as a pretty high-traffic area, and so they're focused on, obviously, like you said, their problem. And I don't know if they have any solutions that'll really work, but, you know, it's a rural area, and once you get past Birmingham's by the quarry,
It's 45.
you know, everything changes, and now you have access, you know, so time will tell. I said we'll give them an opportunity to tell us, and then you can share the suggestion about the lawnmower with them. I hope.
Is that the name they're gonna use? Because they have Bay Shore as one word again, and legally, the legal road name is capital B-A-Y space capital S-H-O-R-E.
That's your chairman who misspelled it.
Oh. I apologize. It's
You know,
fine.
spell checker does not pick up everything, so I
Okay,
had a heading which I gave to Amy, I told her, and I didn't have any details, and I wrote that up
Okay.
over the weekend, so I apologize to the Bay Shore Drive Association. All right, financial reports for December. You have the account balances, you have the, you have the transaction list, and you have the budget for the month. And Amy, do you have something that you would like to share?
Yep, the town has paid for our first quarter fire protection dues.
Ooh,
We have also sent out the settlement checks to the county, Sevastopol School District, Sturgeon Bay School District, NWTC, and the Sevastopol Sanitary District. We also had our auditors here last week, and they will be back at the annual meeting to give a full report. And your first half of taxes are due by January 31st.
okay, thank you, Amy. Anyone have any questions on the financial reports? If not, a motion to accept and put on file?
I'll make that motion to accept the financial reports, but I would like to point out, if you look at the 2025 budget versus actual, our income was slightly more, our expenses were slightly more, but still within that threshold of we stay really, really close to our budget, so.
Well, again, thank you to your chairman. Okay. Wow. Hey, easy.
We'd be even closer if the chairman didn't get so much
All
money.
right. We have a motion from Linda, second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried, thank you. All right, approval of vouchers, bills, claims, December 16th through January 19th. I think you've all had a chance to sign them. Then a motion would be in order.
I'll make that motion, approve the vouchers, bills, and claims from December 16th, 2025 through January 19th, 2026.
Motion by Mark, second by
Second?
Trent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Oral committee reports. We do have county board, nope, that's coming up. So, anything oral that you'd like to do, Linda?
Yes, so even though I was on vacation, I did participate in the tourism zone meeting on Thursday. So we had talked about the community investment fund, and one of the other commissioners also brought up a point, and it's been brought up in the past, about that there may be some hope for the community investment fund granting larger grants to actually complete a project and not have that shortage. So that would be a good thing for us. There is a survey out there from Destination Door County that I think they had like 600 responses so far. The main focus, or I should say the main concerns as a result of that survey was, guess what? Affordability of housing here was very high on the list. Let's see, our next meeting is February 19th, and it's an in-person meeting right here at the Sevastopol Town Hall.
All right, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
All right, next on our agenda is the county board report by Mr. Zettel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Typically, the December meeting for the county board is usually fairly brief, since most of the activity is in November for the upcoming, budget for the oncoming year. But last month, we had a lively discussion regarding the Door County Museum and how to deal with the Yonkers building. That was, a lot of that information also is in the Pulse that kind of summarized that. I think the upshot is the board voted 13 yes, 6 no. I was one of the no's, 6 no's, to basically allow IML to construction to go through a kind of a detailed plan for how to do both the renovation of the building to create or a usable commercial space, as well as the renovation on the back end to do museum archive and museum display work. So we'll see how that ends up when Emil comes back in a few months to see what that is. As I relayed in the meeting, this topic was the most talked about item when I canvassed as a county board supervisor back in 2022. It was not a very popular topic for constituents. In addition, there are just, several concerns about the whole process of how that building was acquired really without a lot of due diligence and transparency relative to if it was going to be used for a museum. You have a sale pending, the ability to have an inspection and an audit relative to if that building would have been usable for the desired scope of work and its planned use, and that didn't happen. So we'll see how that comes up in the coming months. So on that item, stay tuned. There are a couple other reports that were given that I just want to mention. One was an update of the emergency services communications project, AKA the Towers project. I know that there are negotiations for land in place, one with the school district here for one of the towers, as well as the town of Bailey's Harbor. And they are adding 2 towers because what's known as the school tower up in Ellison Bay structurally cannot handle additional antennas for this new project with the other antennas that are there for State Patrol, DNR, and what the county already has there. So they have to add an additional 2 towers in Northern Door to maintain the same level of coverage. So there's going to be a net total of 8 towers that will be added to support this new technology. And that brings the current project cost estimate up to around $29.2 million. I think it started somewhere around 25-ish, about 3 years ago, so it's been climbing. Of course, part of this cost now also includes the fact that the county is going to be paying for the radio costs for the municipalities that was discussed earlier last year. Also, you had Jeb here last month talking about the signs. He did a similar sort of update for the county board. They're making great progress, about roughly 19% complete, and they expect to get a little bit tougher slog as they go up the northern part of the county, since they'll be dealing with a lot more rock than they have dealt with in the southern part of the county. Lastly, the county also approved the Shower Road intergovernmental agreement, so that passed without on a voice vote without any problem. And the last item I just wanted to note is we had our Resource Planning Committee meeting on January 15th, and as part of that review was an annual report of all their activities. And on the back there, it shows basically all the certificate of compliance work that has been done, as well as a bi-quarter roll-up by town of all complaints and complaints that turn into violations that Land Use Services Department has processed. So you can look in there and look for the town of Sevastopol. You can see the complaints that they've registered by either residents, by the town, or they themselves have identified, including violations, as well as what the status of those violations, whether they're closed or whether they're still being investigated, or whether they are actually have issued legal notices. So obviously I invite the town, if they're interested. They have those. That hasn't existed before. So again, with the work of the new director there, we're getting some transparency on ordinances and ordinance compliance, and hopefully we'll continue that effort to be working transparently with the towns that are under the comprehensive zoning ordinance to make sure we address their concerns and the constituents' concerns.
Amy, will you pull that for us?
I definitely can.
I think it would be very interesting for everyone.
Can I ask, the public hearing that I was unable to attend on the 15th, anything come out of that public hearing?
No, I
The
think,
RPC on the text amendments?
yes, I think they were all approved. There was one item that was referenced by the town of Washington and it was with the accessory dwelling units, and we cleaned up the language to make sure that it is still clear that the height of an accessory dwelling unit can be no higher than 16 feet or no higher than the finished height of the primary dwelling from finished grade, whichever is taller. So that was added since there was, the language was unclear in the draft. Otherwise, the other changes there, such as, you know, drive-throughs for banks, still is under a conditional use permit, as well as including things like restaurants, you know, coffee shops that have drive-throughs, et cetera, would also be subject to cups. So that was also clarified in there, and I believe all the questions that you had submitted to Jeff, Linda, were addressed, or if not by him, there were questions that I asked just for clarifications as far as how those were handled.
Yeah, I know one of the questions was with regard to wetlands, and we had that instance on Glidden Drive where they couldn't put a driveway through wetlands, and according to the text amendments now, as long as it's not more than, 6 inches above grade, they could actually put a driveway over wetlands? Or did I misinterpret
I
that?
think you misinterpreted that.
Okay.
The biggest, the thing that was clarified the most relative to this, the Glidden Drive episode that caused some question is kind of who owns the right-of-way. Is it still the parcel owner? Because the question that came into play for that conditional use permit was, it wasn't clear relative to who owned the parcel. The landowner's parcel kind of went up to the right-of-way, but then the driveway needed to go into the right-of-way up to the county road,
right,
which was technically part of wetland. And the question was, who owns that parcel? And corporate counsel couldn't determine through all the land records, you know, who owned that parcel. And so we basically changed the ordinance that just said, you don't have to, you know, you can, if it's in the right of way on a county road, you can, you know, you can put a driveway through. So that's where that clarification came through.
One question, and it's not falls in your area, but just out of curiosity, they were looking at putting a tower on the former town landfill, which was a low point in the area, and now they're moving the tower over to the school, which is in the lowest point on Dunn Road. It doesn't make sense to me that they're putting towers up where they can't take advantage of any existing height. So I don't know the delta there, but there's got to be 50 to 75 feet of drop where the school property is and the top of the hill on Dunn Road. And I only say that because Swampy Acres, as you know, on the top of the hill in Valmy, that tower doesn't reach my home on Bark Road. So I don't know their process or what's up. That cell tower will not go that distance, and that's on top of the hill. So I look at the investment they're gonna make and just wonder, have they really thought about the height restriction, what they've lost there? I don't know, just a footnote.
Well, relative to all the tower placements, right, all those designs and what the finished tower heights will be go through the modeling software for their consultant that just says, you know, will it meet the requirements for 95% coverage for a radio at the hip, which is kind of worst case. It's not up on the shoulder, it's down below. So, you know, so they'll determine what that finished height of that tower is in order to meet that spec.
And that's Insight that's doing that.
Well, they're building a tower, but relative to, and I can't think of the name of the company, but it's a communication consulting firm in Florida that basically did the layout and placement of the towers throughout the county to get that
Coverage.
specification. So they'll still have the height that meets what's needed for our emergency services.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to relay that back to Ashley.
It just seemed to me like you'd want to be on top of the hill and pick up 50, 75 feet of height, you know,
No,
but, you know,
I understand that.
all right.
I agree. All right.
But that's
Thank
it. Anything else for Hugh? If not, thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Okay, you have the inspection specialist report for the month, which is pretty thin on new dwellings, and then Amy pulls the zoning permits for the town. For those of you who don't know, the parcel that was for sale on South Cave Point, the last house on the water next to the park, that was listed for $2.8 million, sold for $2.8 million. So I would anticipate that those of us on the shore eventually will be greeted by a higher tax bill, because that's
Wow.
unbelievable. It's outrageous to be, but whatever. Okay, and you have a copy of the City of Sturgeon Bay in correspondence, the fire report for 2 months, and the payment notice that Amy mentioned earlier regarding general transportation aids, a donation of $100 from the Nature Conservancy towards the taxes for the land they have in our town, a copy of the Door County Connect newsletter that they send out. Next month, there will be on the agenda I forget the exact name of that group, the Bicycle Trails Group.
Door County Trails?
Door County Trails, I think, is it? They'll be
Yep.
on the agenda. So that's everything in correspondence. Our next meeting is February 16th. Spring elections, April 7th, 7 to 8 a.m., 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Vote quick, vote early. Board of Supervisors meeting is Monday, April 20th, and the annual town meeting is Tuesday, April 21st, and that's at 6 p.m. That brings us to that final portion of the meeting.
All right, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn would be in order, and I think Trent
Second.
just made that. Mark seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.